Well, hi everyone, and thank you very much for watching or listening. Liam Hartree here today with another episode of the Presenting Champions, a podcast for Simply Inspired. And today I'm joined by the up and coming boxer Dean Cawley, a fellow Welshman. I have to get that in there, and already making waves on the Wales and British boxing scene. Some big things to come. At the time of this interview, he has three fights coming up in 6 weeks. Has a fascinating story to tell about his life as a boxer and a few things from outside of that as well. And as always with my interviews, we're going to be talking about the mindset that it takes to chase after your dreams and goals and things in life, as well as the actual boxing side of things. So stay tuned, everyone. And mate, thank you so much for coming on here. And it's great to have you on the show, basically.
Brilliant. Thank you for having me.
No worries at all, mate. So, we were just talking about this before starting recording, and you were telling me the story of the fights you've got coming up. Three fights in 6 weeks, bigger guys than you. I know that's had a sort of a mixed reception from people, if you like, for especially some of the trainers, but it's a very ambitious goal. Can you share with us a little bit about that, like you were just saying just now before we started?
Yeah, so at the moment, the promoters are struggling to find people to fight me. So everyone they seem to be getting me have three, four times the amount of fights that I've had. They're either twice the size. So it's started quite hard, really. I'm fighting now in 3 weeks' time. Sorry, in I got three. He's my third fight. I got in 6 weeks. I've got three fights, and the one I'm most hardest one is going to be against Pete. I fought Pete about 3 fights ago. He's massive. He's huge. We had a massive war. It was a hell of a fight. Hell of a fight. It was close, but he was just too strong at the time. I tried to fight him, being the shorter fighter, and he punched me on the hands, and I just shoot across the ring. So his strength and his weight was just a little bit too much for me. And where I'm still quite new with the crowd, I just went in trying to fight him, and his weight had the better of me. But it was close. So I do feel I can win. I do feel ambitious. I wouldn't be getting there otherwise. I've improved massively with the last three fights. So yeah, so basically, he's I wouldn't have picked him to fight, not just yet anyway. His coach messaged me and he said, "Listen, no one wants to fight this guy." Um, he said, "I'll pay you main event, fight for two belts. I'll pay you for coming down and everything." He said, "When you fight him," and it's annoying because I knew the answer anyway. I'm someone I can't say no to fights anyway. It's so yeah, he asked me, and I was like, oh, my days here and yes, here I am, and now I'm going to be fighting him again. And I do think I could beat him. I'm going to have to box him. I'm going to have to change a lot of things, but trying to fight a bigger guy, it's trying to bully a bigger guy, should I say? It's probably not the smartest of moves. I'm gonna have to box a little bit this time, I think.
Yeah, and it's definitely as you were saying to me just now before we started recording, it's definitely like you've got some support with it, but some trainers are saying that he's too big
Yeah.
for you,
Yes.
you know.
So when I took this fight, like everyone I'm fighting, they've had three, four times the amount of fights as me. Um, I've been training for the last 4 years, and a lot of that time I weren't sparring. I had a problem with my eyes, and this year I finally got my eyes sorted, and I'm like, right, let's do it. So what I've done is I've jumped into 7 fights in the space of 6 months. One of them being Pete, and every fight I'm having, I'm just learning, taking the difference between each fight is massive, because I'm starting to relax. I'm getting less tense. I'm actually thinking in there. A few fights ago, I'm still super nervous. I'm trying to fight him. I'm not trying to box him. Trying to outbully him, and yeah, learning massively. But yeah, I've done a lot of training with like Gary Lockett over the past, and he's not my manager, nothing like that. Obviously, I'm not a pro, and I just turn up and be like, I'm fighting this guy on the weekends, and he'd be like, what are you fighting him for? He said, he's twice your size, he's huge, he should be fighting people. Free weight divisions below him. Why are you fighting him? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm ambitious, probably stupid. But yeah, no, struggling to find fights, and to be honest, the people I'm fighting, it's not that they're better than me. The skill set I have equals them. If not, I'm better. It's just the experience of being in the ring. I'm too tense and too nervous. My cardio is good, but it could be better. It's all those nerves being in there with all this experience, and they're grabbing me and stuff, and there's so much to it. But I feel like I'm getting better each time. And Pete was about 3 fights ago, so the difference between me when I fought him last is massive, and it was super close. So it's gonna be fight of the year, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, yeah, I mean, you're improving every time, but you are learning on the job, and that's sort of a stiff test in itself. I mean, it's not an easy thing to be doing, so I got respect for that. But yeah, I mean, Gary Lockett, I'm just going to mention quick shout out to him as well. I know him well, and a lot of his fighters. He's been on his show as well a while back. He's a very good, obviously, he's a very good trainer. He's a very good fighter, but he's a very good strategist with the long term of a boxing career as well. So I definitely would listen to. Things like that because you got to roll the dice and take some big risks, but you've also got to think of the long term as balance, and definitely. So, okay, so you're learning on the job. If we go back in time for a minute and we talk about like your sort of background and where you come from and your upbringing and things like that.
Yeah.
First of all, I mean, going back to the beginning, growing up, where did you grow up and were you sporty back then, or was it something that sort of has come later in life type of thing?
Yeah, I've always been sporty. So I started boxing late. I started boxing about 3, 4 years ago. Did a bit of Thai boxing going back about 10 years ago. And when I say Thai boxing, um, I trained for about 4 or 5 months, jumped in the ring, had a Thai fight, same again, someone twice the size of me. I turned up to a gym, and within 2 weeks, they were like, "Do you want to fight?" And I was like, "Yeah, go on then." And fought a Polish guy. His name was Woodcheck from Western Supermare. And yeah, you should see the photo. It's like I'm a short guy, but he used to be about 6'4". um, yeah, I lost that fight. He was just completely. He had about 4 or 5 fights experience, but I just chased him down like all the way through. Like I made it to the end. I pushed the pace, took a batter in, but it was a good fight. It was a good learning fight. But really, I shouldn't have been fighting. I weren't ready. Jumping again. I haven't changed. But no. So before that, I was into my football. Football, rugby, just being active, really. Nothing too crazy. I always wanted to be a boxer, from a young age. I was always saying to myself, right, I'm going to do boxing next year. I'm going to start, and I just started getting older and older, and as you're growing up, you just start drinking, doing all that stuff, and it never seemed to happen. So I got past that little young stage of partying, and now I'm at a stage where all you do is work, and you need something that's just a little bit more exciting, something to get you through the week. A fight's booked. It's just there's something to live for. That makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense, mate. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Fair play to you. I mean, jumping in the deep end, there's no two ways about it, even with the Thai guy that you were saying about. And yeah, I mean, fair play. It's one way to do it. So, but no amateur fights, like nothing, no amateur fights in boxing, nothing like that.
Nothing.
No.
So everyone I'm fighting, they've all had like 30, 40 amateur fights. And I've done a lot of training with some great people. I've trained alongside a lot of pros. My best mate, Charlie, he's a 2-time world champion. I'm not down there with Lee Selby now a lot of time. So I've always been around pros. I've sparred some good people. Don't get me wrong, they've like, I call it sparring, but he was looking after me. I sparred Chris Jenkins, British champion, sparred Reese Edwards, sparred some good boys. As much as it was just an honor to be, in the ring with him, being around him, watching him train and all that. Um, so yeah, even though I haven't had an amateur background, I've had like a bit of a pro lifestyle for the last few years. Even without a coach, the first one in the gym, last one to leave. I follow my best mate Charles. He's non-stop, and I just wanted to be like him. I just wanted to follow his, and everything he did, I did, but I had to do better. I still think I do better. You'll see completely different, but no, yeah. It's no amateur background, but been around it.
Yeah, well, that's very good, mate. That's very good because I mean, it's an important life lesson, not just for boxing, but for people in general. Who you surround yourself with is very, very important because in the end, you become the sum total of the people you spend time with. They say you'll become the sum total of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I don't know if you've heard that, but it's true. This success rubs off on you basically. And shout out to those guys as well. Everyone you said there, Charlie, Reese, Chris, all of them, and obviously Lee Selby. He was the guy who got me started in boxing years ago. Big shout out to Lee. Really good mate of mine, and done a lot to help me. I've tried to do a lot to help him. So absolutely amazing just to get that in there because I feel bad if I didn't mention it because of who it is. But yeah, I mean, in terms of your fights that you've had, obviously you've been moving fast. You've had them in a short time. You were saying and everything. Let's walk through the fights that you've had so far. For anybody who doesn't know, in your own words, you could just describe who it was against, and maybe some of the things you remember, some good memories, maybe a few things you learned. It's quite a broad topic, but let's hear a bit about the fights. Obviously, I've seen some of them, but for anyone who doesn't know about this, it'd be good to give that a mention, and then we'll talk about the future from there, mate. Okay?
Yeah, brilliant. So about a year ago was my first fight, and I went against a amateur by the name of Anton Boston. Nice guy. He had 17 amateur boxing fights. So and I've had zero. I was asked a week prior to this fight, do you want to fight him? His opponent had dropped out, and I was like, oh, yeah, go for it, go for it. Anton, he's southpaw. He's a really tricky boxer. I was a lot stronger than him. I felt like I was a lot tougher than him, but Anton's really experienced. I'd get in close, he'd grab me, he'd move around the ring, and when it was my first fight, main event as well. We filled the whole place up. So I had all my family, all my friends. I must have sold about 60, 70 tickets. So the pressure was massive. And I went out there and I just pretty much chased him around for 3 rounds, just trying to take his head off. Like a first fight, not trying to box. Just trying to fight, just trying to show him I was tougher than him. It was a really close fight. It was like a split decision. In all fairness to him, he did get it. He was tricky, but yeah, that's how that's how it started. Jumping straight in the deep end. Second time, I remember watching back and looking at the first fight and thinking, "Oh my god, it was rubbish." Everything that all my sparring I do, and like that's not me at all. I felt really bad. I had everyone coming up to me saying, "Oh, it's a really good fight," and it's like, no, it's not. And second fight, I jumped in against a guy called Wayne. He was a tall fighter, a little bit heavier than me. I think he had about 9 fights. But I said to myself, this time I'm not even going to think about fighting. I'm just going to try and box. And in all fairness, I did. So I was 10 times better than I was the first fight. And I won that fight. And the third fight was when I fought Pete. So I'm on holiday with Charlie Jr. And I've got a message through, do you want to fight this guy? He's had 6 or something amateurs. I don't know, actually. I can't remember what he said. But he said he's had this amount of fights. And they sent me footage, and it was about a 30-second clip, and it must have been off a rubbish camera because you couldn't see a thing, and I couldn't see how tall he was. This fight was from 5 years ago as well, so me not having a coach, I was like whatever, yeah, go on in, and got off holiday, started looking into him, and I was thinking, oh my god, this guy's massive. he's huge, he's huge. Have you seen the photos of me and Pete?
Yeah, I have a while ago. Yeah, yeah.
It's like standing next to a heavyweight. I know
I
I'm a
know.
short guy, but it's like it shouldn't be in the ring together. But yeah, I was looking at his gym he's part of, Razor Robinson, amazing gym. Yeah, and I was thinking, wow, what a setup. And I was watching clips of him training and all that, and I was thinking, there's me running around freestyle doing all this, and he's got a whole team behind him. They've got all these special t-shirts and all that stuff, and I'm thinking, oh, here we go. And I seen him just before the fight. I was thinking, oh my God, he's even bigger in person. He was huge. But yeah, weirdly enough, it was one of the most relaxed I've ever been before I got into a fight. And we just jumped in there. Don't get me wrong, I'm always nervous. Anyone that says they're not nervous, they're lying. But I got in the ring and yeah, what a fight. Me and him, we stood in the middle and we just tried taking each other's heads off from the start to the finish. And it was really close. The ref, what's his name, came over and he said, I told him my record. I said, oh, I've only had 2 fights now. He said, oh, we only had 2 fights. He said, that's unbelievable. He said, that's one of the best fights I've ever seen. And it was, and now I'm doing it all, doing it all over again. I remember the following day, I woke up and my face, my nose was out there, my jaw was killing. I had about 5 lumps all over my head. But I loved it. I loved it. It was class. One of the best experiences in my life. But there was a few moments in that fight that I remember they caught me with 3 straights in a row, and I was thinking to myself, right, if you catch me one more time, I'm going to go out here. I'm going to end up going to sleep. So I remember putting my hands down and walking forward, looking at me, like walking forward, and thinking, right, I'm going to bluff him. Yeah, I'm going to make him think that he's not hurting me. And he did. He took a back foot, and I always remember this, and I'm thinking, why on earth did I do that? What a stupid thing to do! Because if he had caught me one more time, I would have been asleep. So yeah, I know the danger, but I'm so excited for it. I am. There's a part of me that's like I'm super nervous, but there's that. It's motivated me so much. It's like I love fights like this because that's going to make me train so hard. I am already, I'm sparring some great people. I've been down Lee Selby's. I've sparred 3 times Welsh amateur. He's won the British, and he's getting better. Obviously, yeah, he's had more fights than I've had cut dinners. But I'm pushing him back. I'm chasing him around. I'm landing shots on him. It's not one-way traffic. I am getting my moments. So it's good. It's good. Oh, this obviously there's a lot I'm going to improve. I need to improve on, but I do feel now in the next few months, the next few fights, the difference in me is going to be massive. Don't get me wrong. I've got some 2 hard fights right now, and it can't go either way. I ain't gonna pretend that I'm not risking it, but I will come out stronger for it, and I will get better for it, the same way I did the last fight. And yeah, see what happens.
Absolutely amazing. Yeah. So that's the story up to Pete, isn't it? And what about the ones because you've had a couple of others since then,
Oh yeah,
haven't
so
you?
yeah, Pete. So after Pete, I fought a guy up in Gloucester. Tough guy. He was one of them fighters that where there was dropouts. Same again, someone dropped out. A bit like a journeyman, but he came to whether win or lose, and he was paid. He said, "Take this money, come have a fight," and he came down to fight. And I didn't know how many fights he had. He's probably had over 200 fights, so on. Yeah, so I've got in the ring with him. I don't know any different. The promoter hasn't told me how many fights this guy has had. I'm just thinking. I've looked at him, and in all fairness, he didn't look like much of a fighter. He looked pretty terrible. In all fairness, I thought, this is gonna be an easy fight for me. And I get in the ring with him, and instantly I could feel our ring presence. Someone I could feel something like this guy's really awkward, and but I put on him from start to finish, and I remember making him almost knocked him out, and I remember him coming up to me afterwards and saying to me, like saying, "Oh, you said you were tough, you know, and um, yeah, it was insane. It was really good. So when I found out, obviously, how many fights he had after that, and almost knocking him out, I did ask him. I said, "Listen," I said, I said, "Were you there just to make money?" And he said, "No." He said, when you put it on me, he said, "I came to fight." He said, "I honestly gave you my best." He said, he said that was a really hard fight, and I was over the moon with it." The fight after that was Cal. Um, Very close fight. We fought for the Welsh Combat Series. My first ever 5 round fight. Trained like mad for it. With weirdly enough, me and Carl, we were talking before it. You know, I was calm around him. There was no nerves, none of that. But yeah, something just didn't feel right that night. And not making excuses because I fought really good that night. But up to that fight, I was like, oh my god, you know, I was sapped in energy. Sounds like I'm making excuses now, but no, I'm just talking about a mindset now. Yeah, to be honest, I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to be there. But then, as soon as we got into the fight, it took off. Like we fought from the end, from the start to the finish. We had fight of the night, and it was really good. I honestly thought I won that fight. I thought I landed the better shots. The problem with me is I don't like to fight up close. When I'm short, I like to put a high guard and I just like to walk people down. You'll never see me take two steps back. And this is why I think that everyone loves to come watch me fight, is because whether I'm winning or whether I'm losing, I'm walking forward and I'm coming for the person. I put a high guard, and yeah, I was landing some lovely shots on Carl, but Carl, where I was walking him down with his experience, he was just landing shots in the glove. He was looking active at times. And I think he just built up all those points, you know, built up all those points. His coach, funny enough, I just come from Swansea. I just trained the session with his coach. Lovely guy. You can see he knows what he's doing. His class, Jason, really good. But another thing I did notice on the fight when I watched it back, Carl would land shots on my guard. He'd shout, "Oh, well done," and stuff like that. You know, the tricks. He'd shout, "Well done," and then the next minute you could hear the commentators going, "Oh, that's a good shot from Carl." And I'm trying to look back at the cameras and I think he didn't land this shot, you know, and it happened over and over again, just like little tricks. But all hats off to Carl. You know, I watched a few fights of Carl leading up to that. I thought I was just going to walk through him, to be honest. I really did. I could see Carl made a few mistakes in some of his previous fights, and I was thinking, right, I'm really gonna get him on that. And but the difference, you know, Jason has changed him in so many ways. You know, he was tight, he was tough. He came forward. Normally, Carl is someone who fights on the back foot. So this is why I thought, right, I'm just gonna come at him. I'm just gonna take him down like a train. And yeah, in all fairness to him, you know, he pushed back. He stayed in the centre with me, and we did. We just fought it out. But yeah, as soon as I got into that 4th round, that's when the tiredness started kicking in. 5th round, yeah, that was me. You know, I fought my life out all the way to the end, but I started getting sloppy. My hand, I started looking a bit amateur, throwing from everywhere. But yeah, no, I still think I won that. And I think if we did have a rematch, I think I'd be 10 times better. I think I would be 10 times better. But yeah, it is what it is. You know, he won it. I'm happy for him. He's a really nice guy.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, you know, big shout out to Carl Watts. He's a great champion. He's doing some great things.
He
Big
is.
shout out to Jason Boxer Tricks as well. Good mate of mine. Funny enough, I just photographed his wedding over here in Cyprus
Okay.
a few weeks back. So, you know, he came over here to Cyprus to get married. So you're mentioning so many names, it's making me slightly nostalgic for Wales for just a minute. Although I'm going to be out here for a long time, but in Cyprus. But still, you know, some good names there, some good guys. Now I got to ask you at this point, mate. You mentioned you're doing sessions with Lee and with sparring these different guys and with Jason. Are you in like a fixed gym, or are you sort of moving around and challenging like different people at different places, type of thing?
I'm just like, I'm all over the place. I'm going to different gyms. I'm sparring amateurs in different gyms. At the moment, I like it. I like that I'm not part of the gym, because as soon as you become part of a gym, you go to these other gyms in your competition, straight away, even though some of these gyms I'm going to, the chances are I am going to fight some of them boys. But I'm meeting some great people, and literally I started off with Gary. Gary's brilliant. Don't get me wrong, he's brilliant. He's amazing. But obviously Gary, he can only give. I was paying him for sessions, so he can only give me a little bit of his time, And when I move around, seeing different people who've got different ways of doing things, short fighters. I was with Rocky the other day, just little things, and I'm learning so much through it, and it's I'm always out of my comfort zone because I'm always sparring boys. I've always all levels, different styles, and it's bringing me on massively. Really, I should take a coach. I should join the gym, and I think I will eventually. But yeah, I am enjoying this freelance at the same time. It's just going around and just having fun with it. But it's like with this is the problem with me. I'm happy that I'm in exciting fights. I love that I'm in exciting fights. It's always a 50-50 with me. If anything, I'm the underdog, and most of the time these guys have had so many fights. A coach wouldn't let me do these fights. Same as Gary, right? Gary, absolutely brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But he's out of everyone, he's the one I want to prove wrong most, because Gary's very straight to the point. Like a few years ago, I asked him about turning pro, and he said, "What do you want to turn pro for?" I said, I want to do something in this boxing. I'm really enjoying it. I want to, He said, "Listen," he said, "You're 33. You're 33 years old. You haven't got that amateur background from the age of 10 and whatnot. All these fights behind you." And he said, "Going pro, you're gonna have to pay all this money. You're gonna have to do 10 fights with journeyman. You're gonna have to do this." He said, "Why do you want to do that at 33?" He said, "You've got a good job and all that." And I said, "I don't know." I said, "I just want to, I just want to be the best I can be." And yeah, it's and the same as Gary. Gary, he doesn't see me spar. None of this. He hits me on the pads, and he's seen me right from the beginner. So Gary's someone that out of everyone, he's my biggest motivator. He's helped me massively. I'll go down there and he say, "Oh, you've got unbelievable power," but then he also levels me in a way, and he's leveled me so much now that right now I'm at a point right, in a good way, in a healthy way. I wanna prove Gary that, how good I can be. If that makes sense. Out of everyone, he's the one I wanna inspire to impress the most.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's one of those things, mate, where definitely using that type of thing as fuel is a very important thing, using anything like that. I mean, from my personal point of view, I can see both sides, because definitely, giving it a go and moving around to different gyms and having no regrets, and giving it your all as a boxer and learning, against the best, iron sharpens iron and all of that stuff's great. But the only thing I would say is, like, not so much being in a gym, but you want to have someone who can look out for you
That's it.
in the
100%.
fights as well. That's the thing, mate. And it's just because from experience, where what I know, guys who've had everything from like 30, 40 fights all the way to like 200 or 300. And sometimes when they're in that position where they're checking, they're not checking on the opponents enough, they're taking fights at short notice and things like this, they can get to the end of that career and feel a bit sort of used up by not strategizing it the right way. But at the same time, there's a fine line with this, because you also want to test yourself against the best. I mean, obviously, you said about fighting journeyman there. A lot of guys don't want to fight journeyman, because obviously it's a guaranteed result. Everyone knows that pretty much. I mean, occasionally not, but mostly. So, it's one of those things where moving around to different gyms, getting the experience. When you mentioned most guys in Wales there, I mean, there's a few others. You've got who else? You've got Jamie Arthur, Gavin Rees, Steve Robinson. Some of those guys, they're worth dropping in if you haven't already. So, moving around is fair enough. But I'd have somebody to watch your back, not to.
Yeah, no, 100%. No, for example, I'll stress like mad. So, like, as soon as I book a fight, and I'm like, I'm all good, and then for weeks on weeks, I'm stressed. My missus says, why are you picking these fights?" I'm like, "I'm gonna have to train. This guy's good. This guy's good." And I've impressed myself, and to be honest, that I've got this far without being knocked out. And some of these guys, in all fairness, they've had 40 fights, and yeah, like look at Carl. Carl's had 30 fights, and now that was a split decision. I'm fighting people bigger than me, and I'm doing well, and I'm getting better. But there's easier routes. I could get in, I could jump in this ring now with a few people, look brilliant, and I build my confidence up that way. And that's the right way to do it, and that's what a coach is for. So yeah, this is what this yeah, as you're saying, this is what I need. I need someone to look out for my interests.
Well, it's more like I say. I mean, it's just my opinion, mate. I mean, it's up to you whether what you do. But what I say is like I'm not against getting in against tough opposition whatsoever. I mean, as you say, it builds your confidence. I mean, you see guys who go in there against journeyman and they win 10, 15 fights against journeyman. They go in against it like one of the first real fights they've had either in a long time or ever against like a real challenger, and they crumble. And some people weather the storm when they come through, and some people crumble. So it's not really. I mean, I'm not. There's good and bad, and everybody's different, and everybody follows their own path. So I'm not knocking that at all. In fact, I got a lot of respect for that because it takes a lot of courage. It's more from the business side or from that side because boxing is full of sharks and backstabbers and things of that nature. And one of the things I've seen a lot of guys go into it, and I mean, it depends what you want out of it as well, because I mean, it sounds to me like there's a big thing here about like you're testing yourself. And I got massive respect for that because it sounds to me like you're going in and testing yourself. But yeah, I mean, the business side is it's rough. It's rough, man. I mean, you know this. You've
Yeah,
had and that's more what I was thinking. I mean, I don't know. I mean, but the actual fights themselves. I mean, go for it, mate. I mean, like you say, what your body's capable of, your mind's capable of. You're getting better every fight. I said that at the beginning. I mean, you're learning on a job, and it's cool. It's more like from the point of view of seeing fighters get ripped off and all this type of thing.
yeah, no,
That's more of
100%.
a. Do you know what I mean? It's more
I
that side
thought,
because yeah, there's some dodgy, and some of the promoters will, especially on the unlicensed side, they will throw people to the wolves. I mean, they will throw people in like with. I've heard so many stories of people, going in with much bigger guys or guys with much more experience. Or I know one guy who went in for his debut with I think he was a kickboxing world champion or something, but they didn't tell him he was a world champion. They said he was a novice, and some of them they are sly, like and it's more like that type of thing. But so these three fights coming up, you've got these. Obviously, now you're going to be fully focused on those. I mean, looking past those, not that it's a good idea to look past them, but just in terms of your dreams and goals, where do you want to be from there, mate? I mean, you haven't been doing this long. Where do you want to be like a year from now, or like further down the road type of thing? Where do you sort of picture yourself in that sense?
this is where it's getting really hard because like I've sparred some good boys, I've sparred some good amateurs, and I don't want to bring their names up, but yeah, and bring them down. But some of these guys I've been sparring, I've been getting the better of. They've won titles in the amateur game. I personally think that I'm going to be good enough pro, but then it's the business side of it. I'm 33, so I don't know what I'm doing at the moment. Um, I am enjoying doing this unlicensed. Um, I I I might sound big headed, but I think you've got to be in this sport. You've got to be your biggest supporter to get in that ring anyway. You've got to have that confidence. I honestly think give myself another 3, 4 fights just to get that little bit of experience in the ring. And let my skills come out. Let my skills come out because what everyone's seeing now is that they're seeing toughness, but they're not seeing my skill set. That they're seeing me fight and they're not seeing me box yet. Um, they're not seeing me set things up. When they see me relax, they're going to see a lot of difference. And I just need a few more fights just to get used to it. And I honestly I think I'm just going to go around taking titles everywhere. Like these fights that I have lost. I reckon give myself a year. I'm going to be way past it, and I know that sounds big headed, but I've I've got that confidence that if I think a lot of people are seeing it as well. They know I've got potential. It's just come fight night. It's a different story when the bell comes. When this is why I'm trying to be more active as well. I've got that's why I've got 3 fights in 6 weeks. The more I'm in there, the more the best is going to come out of me. And it's annoying because I'm betting in these guys are just more experienced than me. They know how to time me up. They know the little things. But yeah, each fight I'm just going to continue to get better, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said at the beginning, mate, I got massive respect for the fact you're going your own way and you're doing it like on your own terms, basically. You're living life on your own terms, and not a lot of people can say that. I mean, I've always done that as well. Do things, forge your own path. You know what they say. Don't beg for a seat at anyone's table when you can build your own type of thing. I mean, it's definitely the type of vibe I get here, which is cool. But yeah, I mean, at the same time, you are putting yourself under pressure with like the crowd side of it. And what I mean by that is it's not a negative thing, but like I remember once when I heard Floyd Mayweather speak, being very privileged to meet him, and he said about people's amateur career, like you can lose and you can do this and you can do that. And when you turn pro, you write it all off and you start again, or words to that effect, he said on stage. Whereas obviously you haven't had that. So then as you're learning and as you're growing, people are seeing all of it. It's not like when you're an amateur when you expect um little mistakes and little things to happen. They're like, they're judging it. So how do you handle? Because I mean, you were telling me earlier you were like main event in your first fight, and I was thinking, bloody hell, like I didn't actually know that. I knew it was like a long way up the card. But how do you handle? Because you mentioned about nerves and stuff earlier. How do you handle the pressure? Because you're like putting your own back against the wall type of thing, and it's not a bad thing because it brings it brings the best out of yourself, if that makes sense. So I'm not criticizing it, but I'm just curious how you actually handle that, because a lot of guys would fold under the scrutiny, if you get what I mean with this one.
So this is different as well. Pretty much every fight I've had, I've been a main event. Other
Yeah.
than 2 fights, and one of those fights have been a co-main event. So yeah, so I'm not only um, just pressure, just the amount of pressure I put myself to start with. I've just making like massive noise like from the start to the end, and I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it. The crowds I'm bringing as well. It is a lot of pressure. I do prefer fighting away sometimes. I've actually fought better fighting away than I have fought at home. Because you're selling the tickets, seeing everyone, it is a lot of pressure to it. But once I get in the ring, it all goes out the window. It's all good. What I do need to improve on mostly the amount of energy I'm wasting up to the fight. Stressing, not relaxing, all these little things. And I'm looking around, and the people I'm fighting, they've had 40 fights. It's just another day to them. They got their feet up, they're all relaxed, and I'm thinking, oh my god, I've got I've got the whole show out there waiting for the main event to happen, and it's scary, it's exciting. You've got all those exciting, the excitement draining you, the nerves draining you. I don't know. I'm motivated and determined. I'm determined to put everything. I'm in the gym every day. I've got headphones on. I'm like going through everything, telling myself I'm good enough to do this. I've got my demons, don't get me wrong. I've suffered with a lot of mental health in the past. But the mental health, like everyone, most people deal with mental health. But my mental health has always motivated me. It's what's made me. So in the past, I was to break myself down, suffer with anxiety and stuff like that. And now it's like that anxiety has always made me train harder. Those nerves made me train harder. I've had to find ways to bring myself up, motivate myself, and that's what I live for my life now. I'm just put myself through the rough, and yeah, just constantly telling myself, I've got to overcome this. What's the worst can happen? I get knocked out. I'm not scared to get knocked out. I'm not scared to lose it. I don't want to lose. Losing sounds, don't want to lose, but I'm not scared as long as I give it my all. If I lose, if I get beat up, that don't matter. As long as I've got out there and given my all, and I'm not made to look silly, I'm happy. But yeah, losing to me, every loss I've had, I've always come back 10 times stronger. There's a lot of people they'll lose and you'll never see them in the gym again. They'll have 3 months off. They'll lose a fight, you won't see them in the gym for 3 months. If I lose a fight, I'm there the following day. I'm asking for another fight. I've talked to the promoters. I'll be like, right, who we got? Come on, get me another fight, because otherwise I've got to sit around in my own head. I've got to sit at home. I've got all that anxiety, all those thoughts. Oh, you're not good enough. I'll watch that fight over and over again, and I'll pick up every little thing. Where if I win a fight, I feel great. It's brilliant. But you haven't got that mental side to it where you're picking yourself apart. That picking yourself apart has brought me along in so many ways. And I do need a coach. I've got some of the best trainers. I've got Lee, I've had Charles, I've had Gary Lockett. Brilliant people. But I've always motivated myself to go to the gym. I've never been part of an amateur gym where they're like, right, we want you here Tuesday, we want you here Wednesday, we want you here Friday. I'm there anyway. I'm there because I love it. It's like, you get pros. A lot of these pros, they're doing it for business. They're trying to be, they're trying to be someone. You've got people doing it for self-defense reasons, for confidence reasons. I honestly do this sport for none of that. I do this sport because I need to do this sport, if that makes sense. I actually, it settles my head. It gives me confidence in ways, makes me feel productive. And I've always had it. If I don't have my mind set on certain goals, if I'm not ambitious in ways, I just go off the rails. I need to have my mind set on something, and boxing is the hardest thing I've ever done. To get out in our ring, because there's so many factors. You've got to work. Every time you fight someone new, different styles. Different. Getting yourself out in front of. I couldn't talk. This here is harder than fighting for me. Speaking is terrible, but going out in front of a crowd, going back about a year and a half ago, scared the life out of me. It still does. It still scares me, but now I've learned to just ride with it. So yeah, it's changing me in ways that yeah, for the better, massively.
Well, that's what it's all about at the end of the day, mate. And that's what I mean. First of all, I think you've got a lot of potential inside you, which is obviously why we're on the call. Because if I didn't think that, we wouldn't be here, and it is that simple. But at the same time, I love the inner journey. You know what I mean by the inner journey is the way you've grown up as a person in a way that nobody sees but you. And obviously, at the end of the day, that's all that matters, mate. When you look in the mirror, and you're proud of yourself. You've given it your best. This type of thing. I mean, it is what it's all about at the end of the day. And I can sort of tell in a way, if you don't mind me saying, that you've been like basically to hell and back, or you've been on the brink and stuff, because I can see it in your face and in your eyes, and it's not a bad thing. But the fact that you've come back from that, I got so much respect for that, because I've been through things like that myself, and those battles that happen inside of us are harder than anything we often have to face on the outside of life, if that makes sense. And I know how much this is out of your comfort zone, and you're doing absolutely amazing. And I want to take this opportunity to get a few words of advice from you for people out there who are struggling with mental health, with anxiety, with those types of mental demons, because so many people are, as you say, most people, not everywhere, but in certain, like in the UK and in certain places, a lot of people struggle with this. What would you say to some of those people, mate, if they're in that situation and they don't know what to do about it? If you don't mind sharing a little bit about this, because it helps people, basically, if that's all right, yeah.
Yeah, of course. Right, so I'll start with how I started, how bad I was. So at one point, I couldn't leave the house. I was so anxious. Going to the shop and an old lady talking to me. I get so nervous just talking to an old lady. That's how bad I got to one stage in my life. Um, and yeah, just kept myself trapped, kept myself in my own head, telling myself the same thing over and over and over again. Um, so first, you need to speak to people. I didn't know what anxiety was. Going back a few years ago, had a mental breakdown. I ended up on a crisis team, and then I had a doctor tell me saying you're suffering with anxiety, and I didn't know what anxiety was. No one ever really talked about it, and it made a lot of sense. He said, and it did in a way. It helped. It helped massively because I'm like, right, now I know. Now I know I'm not just being weak, and I just know I'm just got, I'm just overthinking. There's ways to get past it. So talking. As soon as I spoke to that doctor, I started talking to people about it, and that was the first thing. Getting accepting it. Listen. If you've got mental problems, you've got mental problems, right? And it's something to be proud of. In a weird way, because the hardest thing in life is dealing with your own head. Dealing with your own head, and if you can deal with your own head, do you know what I mean? Life can be easy, right? So you've got a few more challenges than other people, and if you can get through them, you got to be proud of yourself, and everyone, what I didn't realize back then was everyone's got problems. I thought it was just me, I'm isolating myself in my own bedroom, and I thought it's just me, and I do a job now where I do lasers and I do some cosmetic stuff. And I'm seeing people come in all the time and they're anxious about this, they're anxious about that. They're telling me um, problems about themselves, and I'm looking and I'm thinking, there's nothing wrong with you. And it reminds me of how I was, and so it's what you got to realize, you're not alone. Even though you feel alone, you're not. There's a lot of people with all sorts of mental health out there. But the main thing that helped me was trying to take your mind off that and focus on something. Focus on something you enjoy. And if something scares you, do it twice as hard. Boxing scared the life out of me. Brought more anxiety than anything. And just go straight ahead at it, and it's that's been my number one, boxing. Putting yourself in situations where you didn't think you could be in, and ride it and ride it. If it scares you, do it. But most importantly, yeah, speak to people. Speak to people. Everyone's been through something.
Absolutely, mate. It's such a powerful message when you meet people. You don't know what they're going through on the inside, and I got massive respect for that, mate. Because I sort of got the gist of that from some of the things we spoke about setting this up and everything, but I didn't realize the full extent of it. But I got the gist, um, and there's a lot of this in my sort of extended family and things like that as well. So I really I know how it goes, and mate, facing those demons coming from that level of anxiety to boxing, I mean, it's a massive. It's like a world title in itself, like just being there.
Yes,
Do you know what I mean?
absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, and it's incredible, and I'm really glad we were able to get that message out there. And you're fighting your demons. Massive respect for it. I mean, Dean, the demon slayer. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like you're battling it in your own head. Yeah, seriously, I got a lot of respect for that. Now, a couple of things. Obviously, we've talked a bit about the past and the future and all these type of things. So I'm going to say to our audience at this point, keep an eye on what this man is doing because, first of all, I believe that obviously the best is yet to come in boxing for you. I definitely believe that you're getting better every fight, as I've said earlier, and everything like that, and you're doing it to test yourself. I'm glad you know about the business side and you know about that, but I know you're not doing it for that. But I'm glad that you're prepared for that. But other than that, mate, the journey you're on is incredible. And now I want to take this opportunity to say, add Dean on social media, follow what he's doing, plug in, guys, because there's some big fights coming up and they are exciting. So for boxing fans out there, 100%. Now with this, mate, obviously we talked about the boxing side of things quite a bit. There's a couple of other things. We'll do, and then we'll wrap this up after a couple of other points, so it's sort of a good length. We've been talking like an hour. I mean, the time's flown by. I wasn't expecting that. But and as you're nervous about this, like, and I was saying to you, when we set this up, like, it can't be harder than getting in the ring. But if you find it hard, then absolutely well done, because you're doing amazing. Now, a couple of other things I want to talk about here. The sleep paralysis thing on the subject
Yeah.
of demons. I want to touch on this because, in the same way as mental health, I
Mhm.
think people feel isolated with this and they don't know what's going on. Can you share with us a little bit about your experiences with sleep paralysis and a couple of those topics that we spoke about when we were setting this up? The relevance is, I hope it breaks down a couple of barriers of people having this in their sleep, and they might think that they've lost their marbles or something, when actually it's something that a lot of people have. And I've also had it myself, not regularly, but I've experienced it myself in some very, very vivid things where you wake up and you don't know what's real, or you're sleeping, but you know you're dreaming and you're trying to wake yourself up and there's voices and all this crazy stuff. So, in your own words, mate, what are some of your experiences with that, please?
Yeah, so I used to get it all the time. I still get it occasion. Sometimes that can help. That come from the anxiety as well. So being stressed, lack of sleep. So you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't move. Your body is stiff. You could just about move your toes and your fingers, and you're still lucid. So you're able to look around the room, but you're still able to see things. And everyone seems to say the same thing. It's like demonic entities you see. I've had people scream at me. I've had people threaten me. I've all those sorts. It's proper creepy. It's proper creepy. Um, yeah. It's. Well, I remember when I first had it, and I was like, "Oh my god, what on earth was that?" I was thinking I've just been possessed or something. It was that scary. And I'm on Google, and I'm thinking, "Oh my god, what on earth is happening to me?" And it was a massive. I was so happy in a weird way to know everyone. It's a lot of people go through it. They say 1 in 4 people have it once in their lifetime, I think, and then something like I don't know, like one in 8 will have it regular, and one of them people, whether it's due to anxiety, I don't know, but yeah, it's proper creepy stuff.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know you said when we were setting this up that you believe in basically in demons and that side of things, and I remember
Yeah.
saying I do as well. And but the only thing with that is I would say I believe that I've had I've had those sorts of negative demonic experiences the same as you, but I've also had positive things reach me and try to guide me this way, not that way, like to go a certain way in life and things. And I don't talk about it much because people just think you've lost it, but it is a very real thing. What do you think causes this? Do you think there's actual like energies and things around you?
Massively, massively. Like, um, I love history, right? I love ancient history. I follow a lot of Hinduism, Buddhism, all religions. I've looked into all of it. Experience of sleep. Because I can't say the words. Paralysis. I say it.
Paralysis, yeah, yeah.
But that's the one I was messing up. Yeah, seeing that stuff. That's vivid. TMT. I took TMT for a little bit. If anyone's never done TMT, you sound crazy until you've done it. It's a drug that a lot of people use for mental health. I do think it helped me in certain ways. So it's supposed to open the mind up. It's more natural. You basically see all these things for 8 minutes. They do it in all these camps and stuff. People who have trauma are supposed to help them. But the stuff you see on that, close your eyes, and the stuff you see is just as real as the stuff you see with your eyes open. And you see entities on it, and you sound absolutely crazy talking about it. And when you do it, you'll fully understand that it's bizarre. So there's that side of it. So that's opened my mind up to it all. So I don't believe in. It's not I don't believe in. I just don't know which way to go with it. So I'm not religious, and I'm not spiritual, but I do believe there is something, whether it be religious or spiritual. Massive believer there's something more. 100%, 100%. I've looked into deep. Sorry, like, oh yeah, my friend, that'll be 2 seconds. Sorry. So yeah,
So
I've looked deep into it, and so far the stuff I've seen is like been like really demonic more than it has been light. So I've seen a lot of darkness. But I'm hoping now I can find a religion or something to believe in that's good. That's got a bit more light to it. At the moment, all I've seen is really pretty much bad stuff. But yeah, yeah, I'm definitely open to something else.
Well, what I'd say about that, mate, is it's. I'm not going to get into all of it today with you, but I've had my own experiences with this side of things, and like I say, I've experienced the light and the dark. But personally, I experienced the light during the dark because there's been a couple of times in my life where I've been depressed. Basically, I don't suffer from it ongoing, but I've had like two bouts which have been quite bad. And during that time, I've had other experiences as well, but I've experienced during that time that I can't explain that were positive in the sense that I felt like something was trying to help me, and there were signs and there were things I saw repeatedly over and over again during that time until I recovered from it and all this. And there's quite a few different things, and these days I can sort of tap into it. The sleep paralysis thing I had when I was a kid a lot, and I have it a lot less
Scary.
now. Yeah, man, especially when you're young like that, and I have it a lot less. Funny enough, I had one maybe, I don't know, like a week, 10 days ago, around the 29th, 30th of December, something like that. And, it's one of those things where I do believe these things are trying to influence us, but there's also ways you can block it out, and there
Mm.
are um, there are ways of sort of protecting yourself from it as well. And I want to put that in there for our viewers. That is, there's definitely hope with this. Me and you, I'll talk to you about this separately from the interview,
Yeah,
but
it'd be good.
um,
It'd be really good.
yeah, but for our viewers, there's definitely answers to improving sleep paralysis and everything as well. But it's something I was fascinated, and it was something I wasn't expecting, mate. When I booked you in, I thought we'll chat about boxing and all this side of things, and you let me know about it, and it's really good, man, because you know how scary it can be. So with this talk, if we've helped even one person realize they're not alone with it, then I think we've done our work, and the same with the anxiety side of things as well. And the other thing I want to tell you is I think you represent that. When you're boxing, you give people hope, and you give people whether people turn to boxing or whether they turn to something else doesn't matter. The point is, when you're out there speaking about anxiety and things like this, like there's guys out there who like Tyson Fury and Frank Bruno and in boxing who suffer with mental health, or somebody like and I've been lucky to meet both of those guys, but like somebody like GSP, in the UFC, Georges St. Pierre, he speaks a lot about anxiety, OCD, and he contributes some of his success to sorry, not contribute, he attributes some of his success to actually struggling with anxiety because it made him such a perfectionist about his
100%.
training, so it can be used as an advantage, and it is a light at the end of the tunnel, and I really want to hammer that home for our viewers because obviously when you're in that place and your mind's playing tricks on you, which is really what it's doing, you don't know there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but there is. And every time you get in the ring, you prove that to people, regardless of belts and regardless of everything else. You're not just fighting for yourself; you're fighting for a lot of people who are struggling with mental health. My personal view on it, for what it's worth. Obviously, you've got things to do, and you've got people coming in. So the last question I want to talk to you about, mate, is people you'd like to thank. I don't know if you have sponsors or you have certain trainers that you want to thank, or people who help you in one way or another, even people who helped you with your mental health. Is there anybody you'd like to thank, mate, before we wrap this up and close out?
Everyone, going back to my best mate Charles, he's always been there. We've done all this together. Gary Lockett, he took his time for me. He's been brilliant. He really has. Now Lisa Elby, everyone I've trained, Jason today, Rocky, and it's when I first started. Not many people, it didn't take me serious when I started. And I'm not talking about trainers now. I'm talking about a lot of people I come across every on a daily basis. Apart from a few people, and those few people, they seen how happy it was making me. And it's nice to now show people, right, I am, now you've caught me at a time now. I'm going to start showing everyone what I can actually do. Whether how far I go, I don't know. Whether I win or lose, I'm going to be entertaining, and you're going to see the best. I'm not someone. I almost got knocked out my last fight, winning the fight all the way around, got one shot, um, almost almost lost it for me, but I brought it back, and that's what I want to show everyone, is that I want to show that the heart, the style I have. You're going to see some entertaining fights, and every person that's followed me at the moment, liking my stuff, giving that support, they don't understand how much it means to me. Because especially with the mental health side, because I do get low days, and those low days I'll rip myself apart. I will, and then I got to bounce myself back. And people don't understand. When you're breaking yourself apart, that just a little message sometimes, just saying, well done, you're doing good. You don't understand how much, and there's loads of people who've done it. I could be naming all day, and but yeah, I've got a lot of lot of nice people. My family always, my family been there through me through day one, and yeah, I don't know where I'm going to go with this, but I tell you, I'm going to give it my all, and it's gonna be some exciting fights. Let me get through some of these hard fights now, and then I'm going to be chasing every belt around the UK.
Absolutely amazing, mate. The future is very, very bright for you. 100%, I believe that, and the personal journey that you're on. I mean, I believe there'll be titles and stuff, don't get me wrong, but the personal journey you've been on, winning every single day, against your own mind. I got so much respect for that. And yeah, like I was saying earlier, guys, plug into Dean's social media, send him some encouragement. It's an important lesson as well, just before we close out. Be kind on social media, guys, because you don't realize the effect of a kind word and how much people carry that, and the ripple effect. You say something good to somebody, they feel better about themselves, then they go out and say something nice to somebody else. But then the negative, I shared this the other day with the negative of like a drawing of a guy with his tongue is like a knife, it's like a blade coming out, because people don't
Yeah,
realize if they send a nasty word, it can like cut someone inside, and it stays with them as well, and it can do damage, and they could go out and be nasty to somebody else or whatever, and it has a negative ripple effect. So be kind on social media, guys, because, and in life in general, on the street, because everyone is fighting a battle that you know nothing about just by looking at them. um, People can seem confident and happy and this and that, but you don't know what's going on underneath. And I've seen photos of it. I mean, I know people like this, but they're one of the most telling things I've ever seen. A photo of the Lincoln Park Chester, before he committed suicide. The last photo, he was smiling, with his family or something. He was on a balcony, and you see that and you think, well, that was like right before he took his own life. Like, you don't know what people are going through. So I just want to hammer that home. I know you know that, mate, but I just want to hammer that home for our viewers. It's a very important
sorry.
message.
If I don't say this, I'm going to get killed. Obviously, you want a massive thank Lauren as well. So Lauren's my partner. She's seen me at my worst. She's seen me at my best. She's seen me go through some proper anxiety, especially with the boxing, the pressure I put on myself up to some of these fights. I wouldn't want no one to see, And in all fairness to her, she's been there every step of the way. She's been absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I wouldn't put it this way. I wouldn't have been able to do it without her. She's been
Uh,
honestly.
that's good, mate. Yeah, I mean, the importance of having good people around you is second to none. And yeah, it's good to give her a mention, because yeah, nothing bad happened to you now. But no, I'm only joking. If you didn't mention her, I'm glad you gave her a mention, mate. I know you said it in passing earlier, but yeah, honestly, mate, it's been a great interview. I know this is the first long one that you've done. If you don't mind me saying that, I'm just going to say that because you've actually done really, really well. I know you've done like a short one after a fight and everything, but you've done really, really well. Spoken from the heart, shared your story, your mindset, shared some stuff that helps people, shared some fun stories from your fights, a really nice mix of things. So I'm super happy with this, mate, and you should be proud of yourself. Give yourself a pat on the
Thank
back,
you. Thank you for
I
having
mean
me.
that.
Really
No,
nice guy. Really good to chat to. Chat all day.
yeah, I would too. I would chat longer. I got to run though. You got to run as well. I'll
Yeah.
send you this when it's released. So obviously I'll give it a push around my side, but then you've got the link when it's ready, so you can share it with everybody. And yeah, just keep winning them battles, keep proving the haters wrong, keep proving the supporters right. There's always two sides to that, isn't there? And just keep doing what
Okay.
you're doing, mate. Yeah, it's who knows how far you can go, but I believe it'll be a long way, and I'll be cheering for you in those future
Yeah,
fights. Even though
thank you.
I'm thousands of miles away in Cyprus now, I'll still be watching. I'll still be cheering. I'll find a way to watch. I'll still be cheering for you. So
Thank you.
massive respect to you, mate. And hey, who knows? Further down the road, maybe we can do a part two.
Sounds good.
When
Yeah,
you've got
yeah.
some belts and all that side of things. Yeah, shout out to everyone who supports you. Shout out to Rocky Morgan as well, because you mentioned him.
Lovely guy.
Massive respect for that guy. So yeah, but you enjoy your evening, mate, and I'll
And
be in touch
yourself.
with you very soon. You all right, top man,
Thank you, my
top man.
friend. See you
Take
later.
care. See you later. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the Simply Inspired YouTube channel, and there'll be more videos coming soon.